What's up, everyone? This is the Next Tape Podcast, episode 49 with Mikel, and
And Tanyka.
where we have conversations on different topics. So, today's episode, we're going to be talking about, all types of technology, even from from phones or on walls to phones in our hands,
Well,
you know?
that would be the evolution of technology. Name of the
Exactly.
episode. That's where we're gonna be talking about, and we're kind of gonna be mainly talking about um three main types of technology, phone being one of them,
Yeah.
computers and TVs is I believe what we agreed on. We had this conversation a little while ago, so I can't remember what's in my notes at this point, but I think it's
Mhm.
phones, TV, computer.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
we're doing.
That's why I was just trying to, make it a little cool right there, from the
Evolution's
phones on our
pretty cool.
walls. Yeah, it is. It is like we came a long way from technology. Like I I believe that, I remember we just had like, from TVs being in like, antennas to TVs being basically uh movie like box screens to TV looking like flat screen smart TVs. So yeah, it's pretty awesome to see how technology grew over the years, and it keeps growing every single I believe like every 5 years. So even probably 1 year now, like you see something new from a convention, you're just like, oh yeah, I want that. I want that. I want that. I want that. So yeah,
Yeah.
technology is cool. Yeah. But
Technology is cool for sure.
mhm.
Sometimes it can be annoying, but
It just
it's
yeah, it depends like, depends how you use it. Like even a fridge. Remember a fridge come a long way too.
yeah,
There's different types of fridges nowadays too. So like yeah, pretty pretty cool. But
yeah.
yeah, let's continue into this episode as we talk about more techie stuff.
So let's get into it. So the first piece of technology we're going to talk about, which, I think we kind of perfectly segued into it, is phones, telephones.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so, you know, with that, I think, as Mikel mentioned, like it has evolved quite a
Mm-hmm.
bit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and chances are, like, even like this article says future generations, but I'm even going to say maybe even young people today,
Mm-hmm.
have never seen a landline, or like their parents may not have a landline in their home because we're today's generation where we don't have landlines. We rely on our cell phones. Um, so there's people out there who maybe have never seen a landline, never seen a jack, which is what, for those people who don't know, is what a landline is to be plugged into. Um, which is, I mean, I was throwing my opinion in here. I think everyone should still have a landline just for emergency purposes, um, and not like
Yeah.
a cordless. I'm talking a phone with that's hooked up to a jack. So in case of like a power outage,
Mhm.
you can still use that phone,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, even like, you can go back in computers back in the day. I even seen this like floppy disk.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm not old. I saw floppy disk in like the early 90s.
Yeah.
Even,
Not even just
even
early 90s, more like
yeah,
late 90s into early aughts.
yeah, yeah,
Floppy disks were
like
still a thing. Like you could use a floppy disk on like a
hmm
put like your project on a floppy disk. I remember that being an option when I was a kid.
right.
I don't think I ever did, but like I definitely have floppy disks in my house because my grandpa, he worked at IBM, so it's we definitely have floppy disks in my house. I just
Right.
didn't use like floppy disks were like a USB. You would use a USB. I mean, hell, USBs are not things anymore either, you know?
USB.
So
I
I
mean,
feel
there's
like
still,
you, not like
yeah.
it was with us when we were in
Hmm.
like school, because I use USBs quite a bit in um, college, even high
Hmm.
school. I used
Hmm.
USBs a lot, but now as like an adult,
Hmm.
you don't need USBs anymore. You have
Huh.
Dropbox. You can put things on on a
Right.
OneDrive. You don't
Yeah.
need a USB anymore.
Hmm. Yeah.
You
I
can,
mean,
but
yeah, you
it's
can.
not
Yeah. You
necessary.
not necessary. Yeah.
And
But
honestly, USBs are not safe either. It's kind of been
hmm.
debated this
Hmm.
on the security of a USB
I
versus just
mean,
using a
I
OneDrive,
mean,
for example.
yeah. I mean, like there are USB that have like security and passwords like like onto them as well. Just they're more expensive though. So
That's exactly it. Like not like the average person who's in school,
mhm.
you can't afford a USB like that,
Right, right,
you
right.
know? Like
Here-
and you would need to get USBs like
mhm.
it was required in
Right.
college for me to have a USB
Mm-hmm.
to transport documents, for school and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even think I could afford the most like the highest amount on the USB. I couldn't even afford that.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine like if you need to have like those USBs that are have encryption and stuff like that and it's already built in for you. Like
Hmm.
that wasn't a thing when I was in school. And I can only imagine how expensive that is. Like my workplace, we're not allowed to use USBs anymore.
Wow.
We're not allowed to use them. We're not allowed to plug them
So
in due to security risks because the
so
average law firm isn't
mhm.
buying those types of
so
USBs.
so what do you guys use? Use the Dropbox. Use
Dropbox, OneDrive. I personally don't like
OneDrive.
Dropbox. I use
Mm.
OneDrive.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Hmm. Interesting facts here. Um, so this is recently. So the Japanese government finally says goodbye to floppy disks.
Just recently,
Yes. So
the Japanese
yeah,
government.
yeah, Japanese July 3rd, 2024. In an article. Yeah.
I would think that they would be way ahead of us
Yeah.
in
I'm
certain
guessing I'm
most
guessing
things.
I'm guessing the government's, you know, but people probably like the people in general were probably using probably USBs like you said and etc. other options. So and possibly the people in Japan were probably using floppy disk too. So like there's
Mhm.
probably that too. So like
I think I
yeah,
would expect
that's
that more
interesting.
from certain European countries because
Hmm.
certain European countries are sometimes a little bit behind the times. And I'm not saying that out of left field. I've heard that before.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, but I would not expect that from the Japanese.
yeah. Which is understandable when it comes to the government because like they in terms of other government they expect safety. Like look at our government. Look at the CRA. They still are kind of stuck with the old layout.
We've talked about that,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So
They're
like
behind in certain things
yeah,
that even Europe
yeah,
is doing better on.
yeah. So like old tech, basically
Yeah, but we're
old
not using floppy
technology.
disks. I don't even think they
Yeah,
manufacture them anymore in this country, anyways. I
yeah,
have not seen a
yeah.
floppy
Or
disk since
yeah,
I
or
was in elementary school,
yeah.
and that was a long time ago.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. I feel we feel old. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean you're older than me.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's continue.
What? What? You're funny.
Um, so yeah, not many people would know it, but the very first telephone actually came in the year 1876, which I think a lot of us should know that. If you don't know that, like,
Yeah.
it didn't just show up in the 1900s. But anyways, um, and you would most likely remember, for those people who maybe don't know, you would know that the creator of the telephone was none other than Alexander Graham Bell himself.
Mm.
As we know here in Canada, I'm not sure if Bell is a thing in the States, but we do have a telephone company here. Not a telephone, but they do cable and cell phone service as well. But back in the day, and like before, in the last 20 or so years, they were mainly a telephone company, and they are named Bell after Alexander Graham Bell. But
Interesting.
yeah,
Hmm.
so even though he is responsible for bringing the first working telephone to life, the origins of this device are a little less clear cut. In fact, the first iteration of the telephone was called the Trofono, I think is how you say it, and that was created in 1860 by an Italian inventor named Antonio Murci. Sure, sorry. He began working on his design as early as 1849 and filed a caveat, which is just an official notice that someone would be filing an official patent at a later date. So it's kind of like the filing before the filing, the pre-filing. And he did that in 1871. Unfortunately, though, due to financial hardships, he was never able to afford to patent the invention, hence why we now credit Bell with the telephone's creation. So he unfortunately missed the mark. So this occurred on February 14th, 1876, which was 5 years after Murici announced his patent caveat. That's Alexander Graham Bell. He did his in 1876. When two inventors, Elisha Gray and Alexander Graham Bell, so Alexander Graham Bell was on his own with creating the telephone. He had a friend. Went to submit their own designs for the telephone to the United States Patent and Trademark Office. While Gray submitted his caveat first, Bell was able to pay the official application fee that day and was therefore granted the patent over Gray. Bell was officially granted the patent for the invention of the telephone on March 7th, 1879. The very first call happened 3 days later on March 10th, and with it, history was made. So, cool, yay. The ownership of telephones surged to nearly 600,000 by 1900, so not very long, just a little over a decade. And by 1910, this had risen to 5.8 million users globally. Insane. Bell then rocked the world again on January 25th, 1915, when he carried out the first transcontinental call between himself in New York and his partner, Thomas Watson, who was in San Francisco. So this newfound ability to connect people across the country in real time was revolutionary for telephone users in the United States. It would then spread worldwide only 12 years later, with the first transatlantic phone call being made on January 7th, 1927, between W.S. Gifford, president of the American Telephone and Telegraph Company, and Sir Evelyn P. Murray, who was the Secretary of the General Post Office of Great Britain. So, yeah. Post-World War II, telephone evolution again came on leaps and bounds. For example, in 1949, AT&T, ever heard of it, which held a monopoly over the telephone service industry for most of the 19th and 20th centuries, introduced the Model 500 telephone. So designed by Henry Dreyfuss, the Model 500 combined a sleek modern style, for the time obviously, with the advanced operational capacity of brand new user-based models to create the most commonly used landline in the US up until 1995.
See, See, I thought they used like, cups,
I'm sorry,
line.
what?
You know when people,
No,
you know,
no, no.
the cup,
Have you not seen the
you
traditional
just
telephone?
that was that was a traditional telephone
No,
at the time.
no, 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 it's
With the
not.
cups,
No,
you put the cups in the
no,
string
mm-mm,
in the
nope,
middle, and then
nope.
you just call
I think
somebody.
you need to look at what the
Hey,
traditional
bro,
telephone looked like.
that was the original. Like,
No, it wasn't. No,
well, walkie-talkie. It was probably.
that's not a telephone.
I mean, technically,
No, it's not. No, walkie-talkie is not a telephone.
but go on.
Okay. However, while landlines continued to be a staple of most households throughout the 20th century, 1973 also saw another game-changing development introduced to the market. Do you want to guess what that is? In 1973.
1973.
Mm-hmm.
Was that? It wasn't Apple, wasn't it?
No, just the type of electronic, not the company.
Company?
Not the company, just what type of electronic came in the 70s that would just really just change the world. What do you think it
TV,
is?
television?
We're on telephones, so no.
See. So definitely not computer.
No, because we're talking about telephones. It has to be a telephone, not a computer or a TV. You give up?
No, I don't. I give up.
A mobile phone in 1973 was the first mobile phone. Let's talk about it. So, on April 3rd, 1973, Motorola employee Martin Cooper used an early prototype of the Motorola Dynatac, TAC in caps, 8000X to make the first ever mobile phone call. Released to the general public in 1984, it cost nearly $4,000. Adjusting for inflation, it would cost $9,000 today. But the design and concept took off, and nearly 3 decades later, half of the US population and Canada would have a mobile phone sat right in their pocket for quick everyday use. Yeah. And the advancements in the telephone industry just kept coming in the following years, with the world's first smartphone being released in 93. And no, not the iPhone. Yep.
No, I know it's not the iPhone. iPhone came like probably 2007, but really, smartphone came in 1993.
1993, and it was called the Simon Personal Communicator.
Was it that big phone? That big?
You're thinking the brick, and that's not the smartphone. No. You're thinking the brick. The brick wasn't the smartphone.
Yeah, I don't remember that one. I don't remember smartphone.
You're not gonna remember, Mikel. You were like 6.
Generation
You're not gonna care.
Probably. Yeah, I know, but like it's probably a Generation 0 type of smartphone because like.
Well, yeah, duh. Let's just talk about it. Much cheaper than the Dynatac at 900, the Simon was advertised as not just a cell phone, but rather as a crafty electronic device that could be used as a wireless machine, pager, email device, calendar, appointment scheduler, address book, calculator, and stylus-based sketchpad. In all honesty, it's a smartphone. Because that's everything you can do with a smartphone. This might not look like one, like today's version of a smartphone. So with smartphones on the table, it was only a matter of time before telephone technology skyrocketed forward again. And as we're sure you already can see where this is headed, the early 21st century has already seen a major boom in telephone technological innovations. The advent of the camera phone came in the year 2000, which makes sense. I think I had my first camera phone in high school. I think I was in grade 9 or 10. And that was 2006 or 7.
My first one was Motorola.
Motorola.
Motorola, yeah, my bad. Motorola. Um, and it was a flip phone. That was my first
Yeah,
phone.
mine was a flip
Yeah.
phone. Mine was like a red flip phone. The camera. My first phone wasn't the camera phone. My first phone was an LG. But then my second phone was a camera phone. That was a flip phone. Um, and then 2018 saw the introduction of the foldable smartphone, which I'm totally against. What do
Mm.
you think of the now foldable smartphone?
Oh no, well, the way how it's shaped, I think it should be slimmer, but like I understand that might have some issues.
It could have issues. Yeah.
Yeah, but I actually like the idea of a smart folded phone. It's just like the style how it looks like. It doesn't look
I
really
think
good.
for me, I'm just hella against it because
Mm,
I lived through the the time where that was all you could get was a
mm,
flip phone,
mm,
and I don't want to go back. I think
mm,
that's where I'm at. It's like I
mm,
had to have a flip phone. I had no choice but to have a flip
mm,
phone. There were no other
mm,
choices when, the flip phone was the thing, to have. And I never had anything in the beginning that wasn't a flip. I had two flip phones. So, you know, that was the time. And that's all you could get. But I lived through that. I don't want to live through it again. I'm good. So I've never been intrigued by the smart, what they call foldable phone. I am not at all intrigued by it. That's just me though. Um, so the most notable of these advancements was Steve Jobs' announcement of the iPhone in 2007. You said 2007. That is correct. You got that
mm.
right. So it's the first iPhone,
Yeah, I've been watching a lot of documentaries.
apparently.
That's like a couple weeks ago.
Not only did the iPhone change the way we thought about smartphones, but the phone's potential entirely, and it shows. Despite how primitive the first generation model may look today, since its initial launch, Apple has sold more than 1.9 billion iPhones, with this number continuing to grow as new updates are released. And the technology is only continuing to develop in new heights. Some studies have already predicted that the smartphone will eventually be replaced by a higher form of technology. I don't know what that is. After all, landlines are practically non-existent, as we kind of discussed initially, in people's homes. And it's not hard to see that the same thing eventually could be happening to mobile phones. I don't know how I feel, but anyways,
What? Say it again?
I said I don't know how I feel about mobile phones potentially being extinct at some point or non-existent because I just don't know what would replace it. But anyway, whether what comes next is virtual reality, artificial intelligence, which is where we're at kind of now, or wearable electronic devices, which is kind of again something we're seeing now,
Mm.
remains to be seen. But whatever it is, such a device will be there to continue the legacy and evolution of the phone in all its useful glory. So we'll
Yeah,
see kind
yeah,
of where
yeah.
that is.
Yeah, yeah. Like I used to be an Android guy. I used to have like Samsungs, Motorola. Um,
Motorola is not an Android, but yep,
Technically,
they're not.
the software in it is Android. To be honest with you,
It is.
yeah, it is.
Well, I don't even think Motorola even exists nowadays anyway.
Nowadays, back then, yeah, but like technically, it's kind of
Okay, yeah, they didn't exist at the same time then. Really. Not really.
see.
They kind of
But,
may have been a slight overlap, but they didn't really exist together.
mm,
Or at least weren't
but,
popular at the same time together.
but yeah, like, and then I just wanted to like, have some type of change because I've been with like, Android and all that stuff for so long, including like, my computer. It's been like, with Windows and etc. I just wanted to change. So like I went straight to Apple, I so ever since then I don't regret, buying an iPhone, you know. iPhones pretty cool. It has pretty cool updates every single uh I think every other week they have updates. And yeah. Um it's a pretty good phone. So I used to be a hater of iPhone, to be honest with you. But like
Honestly, like for me with iPhone, I don't trust iPhone. I At least I know with an Android, if I were to drop this, it's not going to break. Chances are it's not going to break. Whereas maybe iPhone's gotten better with that, but
yeah.
initially, you can't drop an iPhone and hope for the best. With an Android, even without a screen protector, I could drop this phone, and I have dropped this phone, and you would not know I dropped it.
I
iPhone, you can't say that.
uh
So
I haven't dropped my iPhone. This is my
yeah,
first
maybe
one.
that's you though, but
I have
there are
yeah,
people,
yeah.
whenever
Yeah,
you
there are
see
other
someone's
people.
screen cracked or whatever, it's because they dropped
Yeah,
the phone. And
yeah,
it's like a
yeah.
one-time thing and
My,
it cracked.
yeah, my
I'm
brother
sorry,
has
but I don't trust that.
yeah, my
No
brother
offense to
has
anyone, but I
yeah,
just don't trust that.
yeah. My brother has cracked his iPhone many times.
Exactly what I
It's
mean. It's
older.
like
Yeah.
for a phone you pay such a pretty penny for,
Hmm.
I just, I think that's absolutely just, there's no excuse for that. Fix
Hmm.
this, just um, the structure of your phones, and that would not happen. And again, you have an Android. I have an Android, and it's like I've only ever had an Android phone, smartphone,
Hmm.
and well, that's not true. I did have a BlackBerry, um, but other than once I moved out of BlackBerry, I've only ever had a Samsung. I've dropped my phone so many times on hard concrete as well, and not cracked. I will never. And again, like I said, like I don't have a screen protector on this phone, and I've had this phone for 5 years,
True.
and it's like I've never had any issues with it in terms of that.
Well, when I got my iPhone and I had my Android phone at the same time, and I took off the screen protector because the screen protector off my Android phone was like, getting dirty. I was getting a new one. I dropped it for the first time in four years that I had it, and it cracked. It was on the concrete, and I was running to get go through a green light, and it just dropped on the concrete. I was like, God damn. So
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, I
again,
was
like
like, yeah,
I don't know what phone that was, like which version of
it's
that
oh,
was,
it's
but
yeah, it's the Hawaii, Hawaii,
what?
the Huawei.
I've never heard
Hawaii.
of that.
It's
I've
a
never heard of that.
it's a popular like Chinese phone.
But
It
that's
was
not a
it came,
Samsung then. That's just an Android powered phone.
yeah, but I did have Samsungs in the past. I had like numerous
Okay, but
Samsungs
you're
previously.
you're talking about a phone cracking and it wasn't even a Samsung phone. It's just an
Yeah,
Android powered phone. That's not a
yes,
Samsung.
yeah, yeah. But I'm saying that I had Samsungs and I had Motorola. I was gonna go on to say Huawei. That was my first Huawei phone. So but yeah, it ran Android. Same with Samsung. It ran Android too. So but but that was yeah. It just cracked, and because I never crack. I don't think I ever cracked any of my phones. Never cracked any of my phones. That was the first phone that I ever cracked in my life, and I was like, okay, wow.
Like I
As
think
soon
the
as I
only
got,
issue I ever had with a phone, and it actually was not a Samsung, it was my BlackBerry. I had an issue with my BlackBerry phone. That's the only phone I've ever had issues with. It wasn't because it cracked the screen.
Mhm.
Honestly, I don't know what the hell happened to that phone. But I had to get it repaired and it was fine. But I don't know what the heck happened. Maybe it must have fallen or something. I don't know, but
Yeah.
that was a BlackBerry, so it's whatever. But
Mm.
that's the only phone I've had issues with
Mhm.
was my BlackBerry.
So
Um,
So
Like,
what do you think? What do you think phones are gonna like, change into in the near future? Do you
I
have
can't
like,
tell you. I have no clue.
you know, hmm, do you think
Again,
they'll get
I'm on an
they'll get
older phone, so I don't know.
do you think they'll get more thinner? Do you think they'll get more fatter? Do you think, they'll like um get smaller in the
I don't
future?
know.
No?
I,
Hmm.
I can't speak to that. I really don't know because again, even with the phones that you like, there are more advertised that are more popular. There's always still going to be another phone that is can be geared to someone else's needs in that line, you know. So, like for example, like the phone I would have is not a phone that my mom would have. Like my mom would go for the biggest phone because that's what she needs. I would prefer a more medium-sized phone, like there's always going to still be a phone geared to somebody. So I just don't know. I can't speak to that. I don't know.
Okay.
I, yeah, I'm not sure. Um, so yeah, we still have a little bit more fun facts with phones and then we'll move on to the next. So
Mm,
present day cell phones have more computing power than the computer used to land the Apollo 11 mission on the moon.
mhm.
So we're basically holding little computers that have more power than the computer that helped land the Apollo 11. That's insane. So, around 80% of the world's population has access to a personal cell phone. More than 90% of adults who own a mobile phone have their phone within arm's reach at all times. Uh huh,
Huh.
that's true too. There are more cell phones than PCs across the world, with the ratio currently sitting at 5 to 1. At the time of this article, the cell phone industry is the fastest growing industry in the world. Apple's iPhone currently has higher sales than everything Microsoft sells combined. Nomophobia apparently is the fear of being without your mobile phone or losing your phone signal while you're out. The average person unlocks their smartphones as much as 110 times per day.
Mm.
Yeah. So that's mobile phones.
Oh,
And
so so I wanna do like the market share of like, mobile phones. So like obviously Apple's number one, 27.73% holding. So and then Samsung is 23.59%. And then I don't know how to pronounce this. This is it's if Xiaomi is 12.12%. And then Oppo is 5.69%, and then Vivo is 5.58%, and then the unknowns such as like other phones such as like Google and all that types of phones, mobile phones, 6.42%. So that's basically the market share worldwide. So um I'm wondering if, like, in the future, Samsung's going to be able to take over Apple. It looks like it that might happen because, like, um, Samsung is innovating a lot of their phones to be a lot better than, Apple in the near future.
and
I'm not
here's
just,
the thing I'll say about like
yeah,
these smart like the Samsung versus Apple.
yeah,
Um, I know more people with a Samsung than I do an iPhone.
interesting.
Like I can think of like I can probably easily name 5 people off the top of my head who have
Mhm.
a Samsung. And I can think of maybe 3, I guess now including you, with an Apple. That's it.
Yeah, yeah. I have the family has an Apple, and then there's some coworkers that have Apple phones, I believe, and then my friend RJ has an Android. So like basically, I think he has Samsung, and his wife has a Samsung as well. So like basically,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So
Like even the
I,
people I'm in relationships with, like
mhm.
my ex, Android, my current Android, like it's just Samsung, you know. pretty sure we actually have the same phone. Like yeah, like that's I don't know. So like Letitia has an Android. Sharon, I'm pretty sure she has. Actually, she might have an Apple. I think she has an Android though. I might be wrong. But anyways, um,
Yeah.
you know, and I can think
Yes.
like my boss has an Apple. My dad has an Apple.
Mhm.
But like I'll never switch. The issues my dad's had with his phone, no
Mhm.
thank you.
Mhm.
No thank you.
Maybe because like what type of phone does he have? Does he have
I
like the
don't know. I
iPhone
don't even
8?
care. I don't ask. I
Okay.
don't ask. I don't
So
care.
yeah. So like if you have like an older generation, it's not gonna
No, he's
update.
up.
Not
He's
gonna.
no. He. It's not about the updates. He's
Mm.
upgraded his phone. It's.
Mm.
He just never had. And he doesn't know how to use the freaking thing.
Oh, that's
I mean, that's a whole other situation. But like, he doesn't
that's
know how to
yeah.
use the stupid thing. And
Mm.
then he asks his child, who has an Android, how to use his phone. I said, "Sir, I can't help you. Like, I don't know how to use this. This is not. I don't know. Like,
I was like that too, but in terms of like um, because I had an Android, and then my brother and my mom would tell me, "Oh, Mika, how do you use this? How do you?" I'm like, I don't know. I have an Android, and then I when I started to have iPhone, I started to get educated. So mom keeps asking me how to like use the iPhone now, and I know how to use it. So and I did have an iPod as well. So it wasn't the same as the iPhone, totally different.
mhm.
So yeah.
And as I remember even my dad asking me like to help him with his WhatsApp or something, and I'm like,
Mhm.
even the WhatsApp looks so different on an iPhone versus an Android, and I'm just like, this is not how it looks on my phone. Like, I can't help you. Like, so like even just how the apps will look is
Mhm.
so different. And I was, no, I can't help you. I'm sorry. Like, I don't. Even my boss will sometimes even come to me. Now, you want to talk about a man who doesn't upgrade his phone? That's the one. He has not updated his phone, and I don't even know how long. Pretty sure the man's had the same phone since I've known him, and I've known him 7 years. And he'll come to me sometimes, and he'll ask if I can help him with something. I'm like, no, sorry, I don't know how to use an iPhone. You're on your own. Like, I'm not the one to help you.
Mhm.
Um, but
Mhm. Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah. Well, we'll soon see if Samsung's gonna take over that position, number one spot. Like I said, they're more innovating than Apple is, because but Apple might just like bringing something new to the table in the future, and surprise everybody. So yeah, we'll soon see.
All right, let's move away from phones and let's go to the next electronic we're going to talk about, and that is the television. So
Good television.
apparently, this is interesting. Didn't know this was a thing, but
Mhm.
World Television Day is celebrated on November 21st. So mark that in your calendars, guys. That's in a couple of months. We can celebrate World Television Day. So it was proclaimed in 1996 by the United Nations General Assembly with the aim of encouraging the responsible use of television as one of the main channels for the dissemination of public information. So let's kind of talk about now the evolution. So in 1926, the American inventor Philo Taylor Farnsworth was 21 years old when he made the first electronic television. This system captured moving images using a beam of electrons. This is what we know today as a primitive camera, which I will have pictures of, so I'll try to remember to post that. 1934, the first fully electronic cathode ray tube television was manufactured by Telefunken in Germany. Never heard of it. It was followed by other manufacturers in France, in the UK in 1936 and the United States in 1938. So before World War II, an estimated 19,000 aircraft were produced in the UK and 16,000 in Germany. So that's kind of that. Again, I have pictures of televisions, so that will be at least something that we can kind of show. So in 1949, Philips, which I think is a brand we've all heard of, markets its first televisions. Today, Philips is considered one of the largest and most important technology companies in the world. Its main focus is on the electronics and healthcare sectors. Didn't know that part. Well, actually, I did. I think I did. Yeah, I think they've definitely dipped in the healthcare section as well. But yeah, they're definitely more known for their televisions. In 1950, the first remote control was created, and it was called the Lazy Bones. I think is perfect because obviously back in the day, children who don't know what an old school television looked like, you actually have to get up and go to the television and change these little dials on the television. Now, I've seen an old school television because my grandparents had one, and it's the one that I always used to watch TV on when I was in bed. You always have to get up, and you basically had to go to the channel, stay to the channel that you wanted, because you know you wouldn't be able to get back up. So, yeah.
Yeah, I remember the channel box. You remember that the ones that have like, 1, 2, 3, and then you had to like, put on your remote and just like type in the channel like 26, and then the TV box were like, yeah.
That's not as old as you think it is. That was still a thing. Like now, when I look at our like remote control that we have now, actually no, I think our remote control still has numbers on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Still has number. I mean, the box. It has to go through the box, not the TV. Not. Yeah, like, do you remember the box on top of the TV that you can, that had like, the number count?
Mm-mm.
No.
No.
Hey, I'm old then.
Yeah, no, I don't think my family had that.
Had that? Oh yeah, no.
No.
We had that. But I remember like, it wasn't on the TV. It was onto the box, and then the channel would be like, you would type in the channel onto your remote and just be like 26, and then it'll be on 26, and same with your TV will be on that channel. So,
you mean like a cable box? Like a cable box?
It's not a cable box, I would say. It's not like a Rogers or Bell cable box. It was just like a normal box back in the day, but it just came with the TV back in the day.
No.
Yeah. No. Okay. No.
No.
Well. Yeah.
Maybe someone else out there does, but I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Yeah. It was a thing, but before that, antenna TVs, and then yeah. But anyways, yeah.
Yeah. So this remote control was developed by Zenith Radio Corporation. It was a remote control that was connected to the television by a cable, and in fact, its operation was more mechanical than electronic, since it activated a small motor that was used to move the TV dial. And
is that what it was?
That's I don't know. This was 1950.
Possibly might be
something like that. Probably wouldn't even work today. In 1954, the first color television formed by a trichromatic system, a sequence of fields based on the primary colors red, green, and blue. RCA launched the first model, which was the CT100, popularly known as the Merrill. 1955, the first wireless remote control was created. It worked with 4 light sensors placed in each corner of the television. Each sensor had a function to turn the volume up and down, and to turn the dial to one side or to the other. The remote control directed light onto these sensors and triggered the function, but being a photosensitive system, the TV could go crazy if direct sunlight hit it. That
Oh,
seems problematic.
I
But
was
you
I was I was thinking, how did they change the channel? And I remember you had to go up to the TV
had to go up to the TV and actually change
and
the
then
dial.
yeah, the dial. I
Yeah,
remember. Yeah,
yeah. But
yeah.
again,
That
like
was
even again, I know I've seen that TV because, like I said, my
yeah.
grandparents, my dad's parents, had a
Oh yeah,
TV like that
yeah, yeah,
in the bedroom that I would sleep in. So
yeah.
I would use that TV. But even that was like so very primitive for the time because
Mm-hmm.
we still had like box like tube TVs, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that those were still more around than anything.
Yeah.
And that was mainly what I saw in my childhood was tube TVs.
Mm.
It just so happens that there's that one TV in my life that you actually have to like didn't have a remote control. You had to actually like go up to it and like
Yeah, we'll
change
do
the
it.
channel that way.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Mm.
In 1956, first television broadcasts in Spain. Television sets began to become popular in homes at this point. TVE began to broadcast regularly as a single channel with programming designed to entertain viewers and bring the audience all of the Spanish news of the time. So that was in 56. In 1960, the first portable television set was produced. Who knew? So Sony, a TV8 301, which is the model, had an 8-inch black and white screen and could be powered by mains. Huh?
I remember that. Go ahead.
Have you seen? This is 1960.
Yeah, I seen those tiny ones. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Um, so it was powered mainly by electricity or 2 internal 6-volt batteries. It weighed 5.9 kilograms. The 1960s is marked by various approaches to portable television, and beyond that, to pocket television.
Yeah, you seen those in movies and TV.
Yeah, I'm honest. I'm talking more in real life, not in television.
Yeah, I seen them.
You obviously are going to
But
see that if you're watching older
yeah,
movies and stuff. I'm talking, have you seen that in real life?
yeah,
And then
I
that's
yeah,
more interesting than seeing it on
yeah,
TV.
yeah. Because I used to work at a thrift store. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. So you would see that
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
Goodwill?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And people would buy it?
Not well. There'll be obviously people who are unfortunate. Obviously, yeah. They'll buy it.
Hmm.
They'll-
Okay.
yeah. Yeah.
In 1978, the first time that TVE broadcast in color was in 1969, which was the Eurovision Song Contest from Madrid. So from 1973 onwards, color and black and white broadcasts began to be combined, but it was not until 1978 that the definitive switch to color took place, almost 3 decades after the first broadcast of this type was made in the United States in the early 1950s. So we're going to jump all the way ahead to 1997. The first domestic flat screen television was made by Philips, which is so true. I remember when my dad, actually, this particular TV that I'm looking at, I'm pretty sure my dad had.
Well, so hold on.
Pretty sure.
What happened to the big box theater TVs? Like those heavy ones that come in and when was those created?
I feel
When
like
did
after that.
flat screen?
I remember when my grandparents had gotten one of those big ones.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was after the creation of flat screens.
Huh.
Yeah,
Interesting.
and they still have it. It's,
Oh,
like,
they still
it's
have it.
huge. Yeah,
Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible to.
it works
Um,
because they put it in like a wall unit, so it
Mhm.
doesn't look like it's not on its own. Just kind of like that. It's flushed with the the wall unit. So it,
Mhm.
it works. It looks like it feels like it's a part of the wall unit. If it was on its own, it wouldn't work. But anyway, so this first domestic flat screen TV, it was 42 inches and used plasma technology. It came onto the market at the astronomical price of 15,000 euros, which is real expensive in American dollars. Like that's almost, I think that's almost double
Yeah,
in American dollars.
yeah.
Um,
I, I, s- mm, I still have one, to be honest with you, a plasma TV. Yeah.
mm, we don't anymore. We did, but this is made it a novelty only available to a few people at that
Mm,
time.
yeah.
In 2008, Hyundai, interesting enough, the car company, introduced the first 3D television to the public in Japan. It was a 46-inch set with a resolution of 1920 by 1080 pixels. The starting price was around 3,100 euros. Not everyone who had the opportunity to test the system was very satisfied by this.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think we can kind of tell by Mikel
Yeah.
kind of being
Yo.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. When I go into theaters, I avoid 3D. Anything that's 3D. I'm scared.
yeah.
It-
Honestly,
it's so
you,
bad.
I don't know how you would not have watched Deadpool in 3D. It was really cool in 3D. Your loss. Anyway, some people found wearing glasses annoying. I think we can see where Mikel's sitting on that. And the intermittency of the glasses seemed to adversely affect some users. I mean, honestly, watching something in 3D in a movie theater once in a while is one thing. I wouldn't want to watch a 3D, like something in 3D all the time in
I
my
know.
home. That I
Yeah.
don't want.
Yeah.
In a movie theater, totally okay.
I understand the experience in a movie theater. Cool. But at home,
No, no, no,
it
I
would
wouldn't
be
want to do
so.
that at home.
Yeah.
I would not want to do that at home at all.
Yeah.
I do remember those TVs. I don't think they sold well. In 2009, the world's first edge-lit LED TV created by Samsung, which definitely have one of those. This high-definition TV offered users ultra-high contrast ratios and vivid colors thanks to its innovative LED edge lighting. It was also the world's thinnest television. In 2011, let's introduce what I think most of us have in our homes today. The first models arrived, so this is in respect to smart televisions. So the first models arrived in 2005 and were known as Internet TVs. But
Right.
from 2010 onwards, they became known as smart TVs. The first smart TVs were launched on the market in 2011,
Hmm.
which again, I think a lot of us have today in our home with smart TV.
Yeah. Great. Whoever thought of that, saying probably said,
Smart.
let's put the internet and the TV together. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, hmm. What we call it? We call it smart TV.
We got
Hmm.
smartphones, so why not have smart TVs?
Yeah. That's a good idea. Let's sell it to the market and see how we do. And it sells well. So
I mean, that's
yeah.
the thing. It's like, and again, in today's society, even if like those people who have cable, you can't have cable now that is
Mhm.
not internet based.
Right.
Like for those people who have like Rogers, for example,
Hmm.
we were probably one of the last stragglers for the longest time who had regular cable until our box fried. And then we had to do the switch to Ignite, which is internet based cable. And, we've had our hiccups with it, but, it has its perks as well. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. I like it. I like there's lots of options in terms of like, smart TVs. So yeah, pretty cool.
And you can get 4K smart TVs, which is what we have. We have 4K
Oh,
smart
yeah.
TV.
I'm not
And
there. I'm not there yet.
No, 4K TV isn't really
Yeah,
new. It's a few years old
yeah,
now.
I know, I know. It's
Um,
expensive.
I think we got it on sale kind of when 4K was becoming a thing.
Yeah,
But we got it on sale. My mom would have gotten it otherwise. But you
yeah.
definitely can tell the difference like when you're watching. Like we don't have smart TVs anywhere else in the house, just in the living room.
Hmm.
And even though I feel like I don't really need to do that because
Hmm.
with Ignite, I can get the perks of a smart TV with Ignite, so it's
Hmm.
great in that respect. But you'd know the difference from when you're watching like a regular television um, here in my room, and then you go downstairs to watch TV down there on the 4K. It's
Hmm.
totally different. The picture is
Yeah,
so much nicer.
yeah, I do
Yeah, and
agree.
most TV shows nowadays play in 4K
I,
now. So
yeah, I 100% agree. Like I will invest in one in the near future. As of now, it's just like, oof, damn. It is expensive to buy. I understand you can get them in sale on like Boxing Day or or a Black Friday or but a good one like my friend RJ has like the Samsung one that what I wanted.
yeah, we
That
have a
one
Samsung.
is
Ours is
oh
Samsung as well.
I'm jealous now.
Sam says a Samsung.
Yeah,
Yeah, but we've had
that's a
ours for
pretty good TV.
like 3, 4 years, maybe
Yeah, it's
5.
so is it a 55-inch or is it like 60?
I can't remember, but it's not below 50. That's all I know. I just
Okay.
don't remember exactly the dimensions of the TV. We've had it a while
Yeah.
now.
I want to get one so in the near future. So like yeah, no. I'm still on 720p slash 1080p TV. So like yeah, it's still quality though. Sadly. Yeah, you can hear my voice being sad right now.
It's fine.
Go ahead.
All right, well, let's move on to the last piece of technology we're going to talk about in this episode, which is going to be computers and the evolution of computers, which I
Okay.
think we can all agree on. We're technically using, well, I'm using one. I don't know
Mhm.
what Mikel's using,
Yeah.
to record this episode,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, we went from desktop to laptop to
People still have desktops. I still have desktop at work.
I mean, yeah, like
Yeah.
home, like people. I mean, oh yeah, okay, yeah, true.
We
Like,
still had a desktop for a while
desktop.
here too.
It's
We
not.
don't have them anymore. We recently don't have desktops anymore in our home. Maybe in the last couple
You,
years.
you know what? Take a desktop. I'm thinking about that big ass screen
Oh, you're talking like
computer.
motherboard.
Yeah,
Yeah,
jeez. Yeah,
desktop is not the
those
same
are.
thing.
Yeah,
It's
yeah. So
PC.
yeah,
But anyway,
go ahead.
so the history of computers goes back for over 200 years. At first theorized by mathematicians and entrepreneurs during the 19th century, mechanical calculating machines were designed and built to solve the increasingly complex number crunching challenges. The advancement of technology enabled ever more complex computers by the early 20th century, and computers became larger and more powerful. So let's go through a little bit of a timeline. So, 1801, Joseph Marie Jacquard, a French merchant and inventor, invents a loom that uses punched wooden cards to automatically weave fabric designs. Early computers would use similar punch cards. Interesting.
Hmm.
1821, English mathematician Charles Babbage conceives of steam-driven calculating machines that would be able to compute tables of numbers. Funded by the British government, the project, called the quote difference engine, I think, fails due to the lack of technology at the time, according to the University of Minnesota. Again, this was 1821. So 1848, Ada Lovelace, an English mathematician and the daughter of poet Lord Byron, writes the world's first computer program. A woman, love it, According to Anna Sifrit, a professor of theoretical mathematics at the University of Munster in Germany, Lovelace writes the first program while translating a paper on Babbage's analytical engine from French into English, saying, quote, she also provides her own comments on the text. Her annotations, simply called notes, turn out to be 3 times as long as the actual transcript. So, kind of love that. So Lovelace also adds a step-by-step description for computation of Bernoulli numbers, which I'm not sure what that is, with Babbage's machine. Basically, it's an algorithm, but anyway, which in effect makes her the world's first computer programmer. Kind of cool. Bernoulli numbers are a sequence of rational numbers often used in computation. 1853. Swedish inventor Per Georg Schwarz, I think is how you say his name, and his son Edvard designed the world's first printing calculator. The machine is significant for being the first to, quote, compute tabular differences and print the results, according to Utah C. Merzbach's book. And I'm not even going to try to say what book. I think it's George Schwartz, and the first printing calculator is the name of that book, if you're interested.
Interesting. That's the first tablet then.
Yeah.
I don't know.
1890. Herman Hollerith designs a punch card system to help calculate the 1890 U.S. Census. The machine saves the government several years of calculations and the U.S. taxpayer approximately $5 million, according to Columbia University. Hollerith later establishes a company that will eventually become International Business Machines Corporation, or otherwise IBM. So cool. Thank you, sir, because my grandpa had a job for 50 years. So
yeah, I had an IBM. That was my first computer.
Lenovo. IBM don't actually have computers themselves. They don't actually, like today anyways, they don't have
today,
they don't make their own laptops.
I think
it's Lenovo. No, they don't.
Back in the day, like
back in the day, yes, but I'm saying now.
Yeah.
No.
No,
now they don't.
I think they make chips, or nowadays they just.
I don't know what they do. I'd have to ask my grandpa. I don't know. Whatever he did for 50 years.
Yeah.
Anyway, 1931. At the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, Vannevar Bush invents and builds the differential analyzer, which is the first large-scale automatic general-purpose mechanical analog computer, according to Stanford University. So, this person created the first analog computer. In 1936, Alan Turing, who is a British scientist and mathematician, presents the principle of a universal machine, later called the Turing machine, in a paper called, quote, Uncomputable Numbers, according to Chris Bernhardt's book, Turing's Vision. Turing machines are capable of computing anything that is computable, whatever that means. The central concept of the modern computer is based on his ideas. Turing is later involved in the development of the Turing-Welchman bombe, B-O-M-B-E, an electromechanical device designed to decipher Nazi codes during World War II. That is, thank you for your service on that one. 1937, John Vincent, these names, man, Aton Saf and whatever, sorry, sir, a professor of physics and mathematics at Iowa State University, submits a grant proposal to build the first electric-only computer without using gears, cams, belts, or shafts. So I'm not sure what he would have used otherwise, but sure. 1941, German inventor and engineer Konrad Zuse, ZUSE, completes his Z3 machine, which is the world's earliest digital computer, according to Jared O'Regan's book, A Brief History of Computing. The machine was destroyed during a bombing raid on Berlin during World War II. It really sucks. Zeus fled the German capital after the defeat of Nazi Germany and later released the world's first commercial digital computer, which was the C4 in 1950, according to O'Regan. 1953. Grace Hopper develops the first computer language, which I think we kind of already know, but I think it would be binary, which eventually becomes known as COBOL, 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 which stands for Common Business Oriented Language, according to the National Museum of American History. Hopper is later dubbed the First Lady of Software in her posthumous Presidential Medal of Freedom citation. Thomas Johnson Watson Jr., wow, son of IBM CEO Thomas Johnson Watson Sr., my God, conceived the IBM 701 EDPM to help the United Nations keep tabs on Korea during the war. 1958, Jack Kilby and Robert Noyce unveil the integrated circuit known as the computer chip. Kilby is later awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics for his work. In 1971, a team of IBM engineers led by Alan Shurgart invents none other than the floppy disk, enabling data to be shared among different computers. That was in 1971.
1970. Nice.
Yep, that's over 50 years ago.
Yeah, I know.
In 1972, Ralph Baer, who was a German-American engineer, releases Magnavox Odyssey, which was the world's first home game console, in September 1972, according to the Computer Museum of America. In 1973, Robert Metcalfe, a member of the research staff for Xerox, develops Ethernet for connecting multiple computers and other hardware, which is something I think maybe people don't see a lot of Ethernet cables these days, but definitely was a thing for up until maybe about 10 or so years ago. 1977, the Commodore Personal Electronic Transactor, which is also the PET, is released onto the home computer market, featuring an MOS technology 8-bit 6502 microprocessor, which controls the screen, keyboard, and cassette player. The PET is especially successful in the education market, according to O'Regan. 1975, the magazine cover of the January issue of Popular Electronics highlights the Altair 8080 as the world's first mini computer kit to rival commercial models. After seeing the magazine issue, two computer geeks, quote unquote, Paul Allen and Bill Gates, offered to write the software for the Altair using the new BASIC language. On April 4th, after the success of this first endeavor, the two childhood friends formed their own software company called Microsoft. So, in 1976, Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak co-found Apple Computer on April Fool's Day, not to be mixed with an April Fool's joke. They unveil Apple I, which was the first computer with a single circuit board and ROM, read-only memory, according to MIT.
I remember those were big. They were big, chunky type of computers. Not the color ones. Remember the color ones? I think that's a little bit ahead of the time, but those ones were both.
Well, but the first one. The first computer in 1976. I've
Yeah.
seen an old Apple computer. My mom had one
Yeah.
in the 90s, but
Mm.
it didn't look like this one, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. People used to carry that. I was like,
It
how?
looks like it it's compact. It's
Mhm.
just it's yeah. It also looks
Yeah.
like it could be heavy, but
Yeah.
it basically
Jeez.
it look yeah, it's yeah.
Jeez. Yeah, that's yeah.
In 1977, Radio Shack began its initial production run of 3,000 TRS-80 Model 1 computers, disparagingly known as the Trash 80, priced at $599, according to the National Museum of American History.
Mm.
Within a year, the computer took 25,000 orders for the computer, according to the book How TRS-80 Enthusiasts Helped Spark the PC Revolution. That is a long title, but nonetheless.
Mhm.
1981, Acorn, IBM's first personal computer, is released onto the market at a price point of, wait for it, $1,565.
Yeah.
IBM computers are not cheap,
Yeah.
according to IBM. Acorn uses the MS-DOS operating system from Windows, definitely. Optional features include a display printer, two diskette drives, extra memory, a game adapter, and more. In 1984, the Apple Macintosh is announced to the world during a Super Bowl advertisement. That is the computer my mom had, was Macintosh. The Macintosh is launched with a retail price of $2,500, according to the NMAH. Not a cheap computer. 1989, Tim Berners-Lee, a British researcher of the European Organization for Nuclear Research, submits his proposal for what would become the World Wide Web. Yep, his paper details his ideas for hypertext markup language, HTML, the building blocks of the web. In 1993, the Pentium microprocessor advances the use of graphics and music on PCs. In 1996, Sergey Brin and Larry Page developed this little search engine we all like to call Google at Stanford University.
Smartest thing a human has ever created was Google.
You're telling me, back in my day, everybody, children gather around, we used this little search engine called Ask Jeeves, which apparently you can still get. You can still ask Jeeves if you want to. He's still out there.
Yeah, and then after that, Yahoo.
And then after that, well, I didn't really get into the Yahoo, but yeah. And then Google. Google was just changed everything.
Yeah.
And we've never looked back since.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in 1997, Microsoft invests $150 million in Apple, which at the time is struggling financially. Who would have known? This investment ends an ongoing court case in which Apple accused Microsoft of copying its operating system. Sirs, Microsoft God came here first. You showed up after. Calm down. Anyways.
I mean, I think. Well, who was struggling again? Was it
Microsoft
Apple?
was first.
I know.
Apple was struggling, but
okay.
Microsoft came first. So
yeah,
they're all here being like, "Oh, you copied us." Microsoft was first.
But I wouldn't be surprised if Microsoft was trying to take down the competition in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, but it's Microsoft.
Just to try to get an edge. Yeah,
you can't mess with Microsoft. I'm sorry. I'm just saying that right now. Microsoft is used in everything.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well.
Yeah. Companies alone use Microsoft Office. They're untouchable. I don't see Apple coming with something like that.
Right then? Back then? Now? What are you talking about now?
Now.
Well, Apple does not use their
I don't care about Apple.
System. Yeah.
I'm talking about Apple.
Yeah.
And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they do. I would not be surprised if they do.
They don't.
But no, I don't mean for users. I mean, within their own company. You don't know what they use within their own company. We're not supposed to. We're not privy of that. We don't need to be. But I would not be surprised if they did. I just wouldn't. It's Microsoft Office. Everyone uses it. They're not going anywhere. But anyway, enough of that. Let's move back to this.
Yeah, everybody uses Microsoft. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. Okay. 1999. Wi-Fi, which is the abbreviated term for wireless fidelity, is developed, initially covering a distance of up to 300 feet or 91 meters. 2001. Mac OS X, later renamed OS X, then simply Mac OS, is released by Apple as the successor to its standard Mac operating system. OS X goes through 16 different versions, each with 10 as its title, and the first 9 iterations are nicknamed after big cats, with the first being Cheetah. Interesting. 2004, the Mozilla Corporation launches Mozilla Firefox 1.0, which I definitely used. The web browser is one of the first major challenges to Internet Explorer, because who uses that anymore? Owned by Microsoft. I don't use Internet Explorer. I hate Internet Explorer.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Horrible.
Even back in the day, it was terrible back in the day.
And that's exactly it.
Like,
people moved off of Internet Explorer with Mozilla, and then there was Chrome. Then with Chrome, you also had Safari if you were Apple, or
Firefox.
Well, that's what it is, Firefox. Yeah, that's you have these options. As soon as I didn't have to use Internet Explorer anymore, I wasn't. We got Firefox, which in this day, honestly, Firefox was always installed, and like my laptop had Firefox installed automatically.
I always downloaded it as soon as I, as soon as I get like.
I prefer to use Chrome, but
Chrome is good too.
It's either Chrome is my number one choice. If not Chrome, then Firefox it is. I do not use Internet Explorer. Internet Explorer tries to like wiggle itself in, like and it's just like I didn't ask you. I didn't ask you, Internet Explorer, go away.
Yeah, it was terrible. I mean, it was slow too, a little slow too. Like it had.
It was all you could use. It's all you could use at the time.
Yes.
So when that was no longer, you didn't need to use that anymore. It's like I'm not using Internet Explorer. Yeah. And sometimes you had websites still back in the day that was like, oh, this website is more compatible with Internet Explorer, and it's like, come up with the times. We don't want to use that anymore. Yeah. Oh, Internet Explorer is so bad. Yeah. I can't believe that's still around. Anyways.
Yeah. It's called something else. I can't remember what it was called. They renamed it.
It's still Internet Explorer. It's their search engine. So if you go to Chrome or even Firefox, like Google, I think. I don't know if Google's the main. I think Yahoo is Firefox. Google obviously is Chrome. So with Internet Explorer, that search engine is Bing. Their main one is Bing. Their search engine. So it's still Internet Explorer.
Their search engine is Bing, I remember. But now, Internet Explorer.
It's still a thing. I have it on my computer.
It's Edge. They call it the Edge now.
Oh, it's Edge?
Edge, yes.
Right. Yeah. Okay. No one's using Edge either. Okay.
Yeah, it's still.
You know what you're trying to do? You're trying to put like makeup on.
Yeah.
On something that makeup ain't gonna help that. So
no.
Let it go.
Makeover, no.
Let it go. So during its first 5 years, Firefox exceeded 1 billion downloads by users, according to the Web Design Museum. Definitely believe that. 2005, Google buys Android, which I don't think we need to go through what Android is. I think we all know that's what they did in 2005. 2006, the MacBook Pro from Apple hits the shelves, The Pro is the company's first Intel-based dual-core mobile computer. 2009, Microsoft launches Windows 7 on July 22nd. The new operating system features the ability to pin applications to the taskbar, one of the best inventions. Thank you. You kidding? I got my laptop. I'm pinning. I'm just pinning stuff because I'm like, I need that. I need that. Best inventions. Okay. Where was I? Scatter windows away by shaking another window. Didn't know that was an option. Easy to access jump lists, easier previews of tiles, and more. 2010, the iPad, which was Apple's flagship handheld tablet, is unveiled. That was only 14 years ago. Insane.
One of the greatest inventions.
Yeah. I myself don't have an iPad. If I want to use one, I just borrow my mom's. Everyone else in my house has an iPad.
It's very useful if you want to travel or
yeah. I don't have the money for an iPad. Yeah. It's fine. 2011, Google releases the Chromebook, which runs on Google Chrome OS. 2015, Apple released. Sorry, what?
Yeah, another great invention.
Yeah. Apple releases the Apple Watch. This was in 2015. It's only 2015. Jeez, it feels like it was like yesterday.
Yeah.
Microsoft releases Windows 10 in 2015 as well, which is an operating system I use at home and at work. 2016, the first reprogrammable quantum computer was created. Saying, quote, until now, there hasn't been any quantum computing platform that had the capability of programming new algorithms into their system. They're usually each tailored to attack a particular algorithm, and this was said in a study led by author Shantanu Debnath. In 2022, we're jumping ahead a little bit, the first X-scale supercomputer and the world's fastest frontier went online at the Oak Ridge Leadership Computing Facility, OLCF, in Tennessee. Built by Hewlett-Packard Enterprise at the cost of $600 million, Frontier uses nearly 10,000 AMD EPYC 7453 64-core CPUs. Hopefully someone out there understands all of that. Alongside nearly 40,000 AMD Radeon Instinct MI250X GPUs. Again, hopefully someone out there understands all of that. This machine ushered in the era of X-scale computing, which refers to systems that can reach more than 1 exaflop of power. Again, don't know what that is, used to measure the performance of a system. Only one machine, Frontier, is currently capable of reaching such levels of performance. It is currently being used as a tool to aid scientific discovery at the moment. So that's kind of the newest thing that's kind of come out of the evolution of computers, and that was only a couple years ago. But we'll see kind of maybe how that will be kind of applied to more of a PC or a laptop in the future.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure it will.
Yeah. How long has Windows 11 been around? Like, it's been around for like several years now. Like
Windows 11?
Yeah.
Do we have Windows 11 already?
Yeah, I think we have.
I thought Windows 10 is the most recent one. Do we have 11? I don't know. Either way, 11 hasn't been that long. Maybe a few years.
That's true.
Yeah, because Windows 10, I remember when Windows 10 kind of made its debut. It wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
And then Windows 11 came not long after that, I remember.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cool. And then, the evolution of the computer is so interesting. Like, it's just going to keep innovating every single, possibly 1 to 5 years, like it's crazy how 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 it all started and how it's coming to its um what's the word I'm missing with the
Um,
uh
I'm
uh,
not sure
uh,
what you're trying to say.
uh but yeah, it's coming along really well. So like yeah, when it comes to the computer. So yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the world is going to look like, and
Hmm.
even like in the next 10 years, who
Hmm.
knows
Hmm.
what a cell phone's going to look like, or what a TV is going to look like, or what a
Yeah.
computer is going to look like. Like,
I, with
well,
TV,
the thing with
I don't.
TVs,
Hmm.
I think we're going to say the same thing. The structure of a TV really hasn't changed
Hmm. No,
in
not
the
really.
last 20
I,
years.
and I don't think it's going to change unless
At
you
least the
change.
structure of a TV, I don't think is going to change too drastically.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know what more you can do at the point. Like,
Yeah.
we went from, just regular pixels to
Hmm.
HD TV,
Hmm.
and that was the like the crazy thing. It's like, oh, you can see someone's pimple. Now we have 4K, and it's just like, I don't know where TVs are going to go at this point. If
Yeah, that's
there's going to be more to go to, I don't know.
that's a factor. Like you don't know where the
Yeah.
technology is going. So that's good because
Computers on the one hand, like, if maybe the typical look of a computer or laptop or whatever may not change too much. But in terms of speed, hard
yeah,
drive, that kind of stuff,
software,
the
software.
the, the inner the innards of your computer that make it work,
Mhm.
um, those things can change. I can definitely see that
Yeah,
happening.
yeah, that would change. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Interesting stuff in the evolution of technology, and I can't wait to see more things change. Not just like computers, we toasters too. You look at toasters, you look at
Toasters do not look like they
uh,
did back in the day, I'm telling you.
yeah, no, you know, our microwaves has changed. Our fridges has changed as well. Like,
And I think what's fascinating about the microwave
yeah.
and the drastic changes it's made is, if
Hmm.
you think about a microwave is not that old in
Hmm.
comparison to a computer or a telephone or a TV. Microwaves really were not really a thing even 30 years ago. Not every
Yeah.
household had a microwave. Like, they
Yeah.
maybe were invented, but not everyone
Hmm.
could afford one at that point. Now everyone has a microwave. You can't walk into a
Hmm.
home without a microwave. Like, I remember, well, I can't say I remember, I was a baby, but I know my mom has said, like, when I was first born, we didn't have a microwave. My mom had to use
Yeah.
glass bottles and
Hmm.
boil my bottles the old fashioned way over in a pot, in a boiling pot of water. And that was, I'm only 33. that's that's the reality. Like, even 30 years ago, like, not every home had a microwave. Like, that's, so to see the changes of what a microwave has done in the last 30 or so years, say 30, 40 years, in comparison to these other technologies,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's really crazy. Even like you can go as far as like doorknobs.
Okay, that's
Doorknobs,
extreme.
yeah, smart. They're smart doorknobs now. Like you can use your phone. Like you have a wallet on your phone, and
Hmm.
basically you know
I mean,
scan it
nine
and
times
open
out
the
of
door.
10, well, yeah, 9 times out of 10, though, even just talking about wallets on phones, 9 times out of 10, I'm not pulling out my debit card to pay for purchases. Usually it's on my phone. Not something like you couldn't do before. Like, my debit
Yeah,
card is on my phone.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
one of my credit cards is on my
Oh,
phone. Like,
so when did you start doing that now? When did you like no longer
um,
physical?
I have a physical debit card.
Yeah,
You have to have a physical debit card.
yeah.
Um,
Obviously, yeah.
yeah, I do have a physical one. But
Okay.
on my
Yeah.
phone, if I've been doing it now for Mm, 2, 3 years.
Yeah, I started last year. I just started last year, so like it's been
Yeah.
very useful. Like I used to lose my physical cards and everything. I'm like, no more. I'm done with this. I'm gonna go digital. Because it's so tiring calling your 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 banks, getting another card over and over and over again. I lost my
But see,
wallet.
here's the thing though, like I don't
Yeah.
know like how that works with like your bank, but with mine, I mean with Scotia,
Mhm.
when my card, my physical card, didn't work anymore,
Mhm.
it didn't work on my phone either. I had to
Oh,
replace my physical card in order
and,
to make it work on my phone. So it gets to a point where I
mhm.
guess maybe it's reaching the expiry, it
Yeah,
starts to go and it doesn't
yeah.
even work on my phone either. And I had
Mhm.
that issue, and they said the only way to rectify was to get a new card.
New card.
So that's what I had to do.
Mhm. Usually they send you a new card as soon as they
No,
expire.
so no, what happened with my card, my last card, is
Uh,
it was starting to go maybe the year before the expiry, which just made no sense to me, but
yeah.
it was starting to go like the year before, so I had to replace it early.
Mm.
So I had to call them to say like I need a
Yeah.
card,
Yeah.
and like I wasn't even able to use the chip either, like to
Hmm.
insert the card. Like that was
Mm.
becoming an issue as well. I'm like I need a card, I need it now. So yeah,
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. I started using digital wallets, so like it's very useful.
yeah.
Yeah. And then even cars too. Cars is another one too. Like you went
Hmm.
from gas, oil slash cars to basically EV electronic cars,
Well, that's
which is
not as new as you like. That's always kind of been around, but it's become more of
I mean
a thing that people are doing now more than before.
I
But
mean
electronic cars have always been a thing. Hybrid cars have always been a thing.
I mean Tesla kind of like, started the
I disagree.
really
Absolutely.
what
You,
was like what
I
was the
was
first
learning about electronic cars, hybrid cars, long before the Tesla was as maybe Tesla was being invented, but Tesla became popular in the last decade. The electronic cars and hybrid cars were a thing long before that. There were companies doing it long before they were. They just maybe popularized it, but they did not create it. There's a difference.
I mean they had like, technology, but like they didn't have like the overall like, you know,
I
like
disagree.
really
I do.
I don't remember a car that
It's
had
it's always been a thing. You just didn't have the accessibility now, then that you do now
uh,
to have an electronic car, to have a hybrid car. They were it wasn't as easy to do it. So
yeah.
people didn't buy them
Mm,
because there was no ease to have that. You have gas stations all over the place. You didn't have charging ports
yeah, that
anywhere.
sounds
So
yeah.
that was the thing. You're not going to buy a car. And
Mm,
I'm sure there have been so much improvements with electronic cars now than before, but you couldn't get far with an electronic car either. So if you can't get far with an electronic car and you do not have charging stations,
mm,
then who's buying that? No one. So I think they have
mm,
improved on it,
mm.
and maybe Tesla helped push that along.
True.
But electronic cars slash hybrid cars have always been a thing for many years. It just
Mm,
wasn't something people were buying. Because what can you do? Maybe hybrid is a little different because you can use gas,
hmm.
but the whole point of these cars is to, you know, to help with
Hmm.
the footprint, the carbon footprint, right? But um this just I just don't
Hmm.
see you weren't seeing people purchasing them because like it's just how do you make that work? Now it's so much easier
Sure.
because you know people
Mm,
are doing companies, governments
yeah.
are doing their part to make sure people can buy these
Mm,
better sustaining cars for the environment. So
Mm.
yeah,
Now they're even like talking about like, flying cars.
that's kind of
Yeah,
always been a thing
yeah,
and whatever.
yeah. But they haven't like, oh, they need to be, the government needs to put like regulations, and then that has to be
I'm
like
not at
for
all. I'm not at
decades
all
and
for. I'm not,
generations.
honestly, if flying cars are going to become a thing, I would much rather be already dead and gone at that point. I have no care to ever see a flying car in my lifetime. So
Yeah, remember the Jetsons saying that we're supposed to have flying cars in this time, like 2020, 2024. Like
they also didn't
yeah,
predict COVID-19, so it's just
yeah.
yeah.
So so that's funny, but yeah, that's pretty much it with like technology. That's all I can figure out in terms of anything that's like that has like evolved technology wise. I can even go consoles as well, but I don't think gaming consoles have improved otherwise from like graphics and how big and small the console is otherwise than that.
Cool.
um but yeah, can you figure something out other than um other than in technology, Tanika, or that's it?
In terms of
Like yeah, cars and then more stuff, like any type of technology other than
well,
what we talked
everything
about.
evolves.
Hmm.
Everything that's technological
Hmm.
evolves,
Hmm.
so it's hard to just pinpoint one thing or whatever
Hmm.
because it's always ever changing, whatever it is. So yeah.
What do you hope, what would change in the near future? What one thing do you think should change from um from this to that?
Um,
Do you
I don't know.
know?
I don't no, I don't know because I feel like it's I don't have any necessarily any complaints about
Hmm.
how
Hmm.
things are today in terms of, what we have. And then I also can't think about what exactly is going to change. I mean, I think the only thing which we've talked about on this podcast already, the only thing that I wish would just not happen and would go away like now is AI, but um that's not gonna happen. So that's it.
That's been, AI has been around for generations.
No, I
Different.
know, but
Yeah.
what AI is becoming today,
Yeah.
I am not for. So,
Yeah. I
and there's a
understand.
lot of people who are just not for. So,
True. Like we talked about this in our
did
episodes and AI episodes. There's like the positive parts about AI and different parts, negative parts about AI. So, um, uh, you guys should check that out. As well as, yeah, I think that's about it for this episode.
I think so.
Um, so this ends episode 50. Sorry, my bad. 49 of the Next Tape podcast. The Next Tape podcast is available now on all podcast platforms. We also have a website called solo.to/next tape podcast. Tanika, where else are we at?
We are on Facebook and Instagram at Next Take Podcast and Twitter and TikTok at Next Take Pod.
So you can contact us in our email at mikeltanika@gmail.com. That is mikeltanika@gmail.com. So we talked about a lot about technology, from TVs to phones to, what am I missing, Tanika? To
TVs, phones, and computers.
computers. Okay. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Uh So I'm Mikel, and
And I'm Tanyka.
we're out until next week, guys. Peace.
Bye.